Hello, my name is Edgar Furrows. You're watching The World Today on NBCNN. It's Wednesday, December 4th, 1963. Today, we talk of the women's movement. The women of the United States of America have been fighting for their own freedom and independence since before the country's founding. In fact, some of the first European women to arrive on American soil were treated legitimately like property. In 1619, English merchants sent over 90 women to the Jamestown settlement. Upon arrival, they were put up for auction to be wives of the male settlers already living there. Although the women had consented to taking the voyage, they had no control over which man would take them for a wife. The men of Jamestown bid on the women, and by the end of the bidding, all 90 women had new husbands. On average, the price of a wife at the auction was about 120 pounds of tobacco, worth about $80 in 1620. In 1700, slaves were going for twice that price in the colonies. From that low point, the long fight of feminism began in the United States. By the year 1777, all 13 colonies had passed laws denying women the right to vote. In 1776, Abigail Adams, wife of John Adams, implored his husband to remember the ladies when the First Continental Congress was drafting the Constitution. Unfortunately, Abigail's advice did not take root. Except for a short-lived experiment in New Jersey, women remained without the right to vote. In 1848, the first Women's Rights Convention in the United States was held in Seneca Falls, New York. There, feminist activists put forth the Declaration of Sentiments, demanding an end to discrimination against women in the U.S. Unfortunately, their demands had little effect. In 1868, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, granting citizenship to all born in the United States. All did not include females, however. The amendment used the word man interchangeably with the word citizen. Luckily, the cause of feminism saw some success in the following year, when Wyoming Territory granted suffrage to women. Feminism's fortunes were on the upswing. The women's suffrage movement began to organize like it never had before, growing in power slowly and surely. In 1916, Jeannette Rankin was elected to the House of Representatives, the first woman to hold such a position. In 1920, women finally were granted suffrage, per the 19th Amendment of the United States Constitution. In 1933, Frances Perkins was appointed Secretary of Labor in the United States, the first woman cabinet member in the history of the country. Today in the 1960s, there are still many unresolved issues on the feminism front, and the battle over the role of women in society has become more intense in the past few years. With the publication of Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, the President's Commission on the Status of Woman, and Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique, new questions have raised the temperature of the feminist debate. To get a true view on the debate raging over this subject, we at NBCNN traveled to the home of Arnold Patterson and his children. Here is what we witnessed.
Hey, look at this. It's an ad for employment. Help wanted at the local iron works. I am so in. It sounds like a hard job, but I know I can handle it. After all, if women could work in factories producing guns and ammunition during the Second World War, then why can't I go and get a job? Really now, this would be fun. All my school friends are doing it too. It's a whole movement.
What are you doing? Give me back that paper. What are you doing with this? You think just because some women try to make a name for themselves, you can start taking jobs away from hardworking men? We're the ones who bring home the bread, not you. You stay home and cook the bread. Yeah.
But that's not true. Look what the government is doing for us. In 1961, President John Kennedy made an entire committee for the status of women in this country. He even made Eleanor Roosevelt the chairwoman. She is a symbol of equality for us women. Why can't you just accept the fact that the times are changing?
Since you women got President JFK to make a presidential commission for the status of women, you think you have the right to swarm our workplaces? Sorry to burst your pink frilly bubble, but guess what? It was a political move. He doesn't actually care about your so-called struggles. Kennedy knows that he doesn't have many women in his cabinet or high offices, for good reason. So this is just some ploy to get himself some support for the Cold War. He wants the country's full support to take down those dirty commies in Nam.
That's the issue, man. Can't be out some foreign country wishing with some precious American lives when there's real problems are here. So many boys have died, and why? So we can have a who's bigger contest with the Soviets? That's just ridiculous, man. And certainly not what this country needs.
Oh, not you too, son. Don't you dare turn into one of those hippies threatening to ruin our country. I will deal with you later. Get back to work.
He has a point, and you know it. This country needs a change. The war needs to end, and women need a better place in society. I read this book the other day, and I think you should really take a look at it. It explains how women really are the same as men. You have no reason to marginalize us just because we're of a different sex. Simon de Beauvoir's ideas are too revolutionary for this movement.
That's right, a little too revolutionary for my views. I hear she likes to converse with Fidel and Che Guevara down in Cuba. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to read any books by people who speak with those fellows. She's probably trying to weaken this country.
That's not true. Why are you so stubborn? Fine. Then how about Betty Friedan? You won't find her talking to any communists. In her book, The Feminine Mystique, she talks about how women don't really want to be pregnant and stuck at home. Our fulfillment in lives come from doing what we want. And I want to be just like her. She knows what it's like for women to struggle between their career and their families. I want something more than my husband and my children and my home.
Oh, so all of a sudden you women think you can be free with your lives? The FDA legalizing the birth control pill in 1961 was a stupid mistake. It allows you women to do whatever you want without any consequences.
We have the right to do whatever we want. You just have to accept that.
The front of women's rights and the battle over the feminine identity is one of the most volatile conflicts in our country today. It's an issue that will shape the future of our country, and much is certain to happen in the coming years. Good night, and good luck.